All right, so today we're diving into Harry Potter, but we're going to focus on a character who often gets overshadowed, Cedric Diggory. We've got a ton of articles and analyses here, and our mission today is to figure out why this seemingly minor character has had such a big impact on fans.
Yeah, it really is interesting, isn't it? Most people just remember Cedric for his tragic ending, but his story is so much more than that. He really embodies the idea of a tragic hero. Admirable, virtuous, but ultimately meeting a tragic end.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So let's break that down a bit. What makes Cedric a tragic hero in the Harry Potter world?
Well, on the one hand, Cedric has all these heroic qualities. I mean, he's brave, he's talented, he's respected, but he's also incredibly humble and kind, like the perfect Hufflepuff, right? Loyal, fair, hardworking. But his story takes a dark turn, unlike, well, typical heroes who usually overcome their challenges.
You're right, and it's really interesting to compare him to Harry. They both go through a lot in the Triwizard Tournament,
Mhm.
but they approach things so differently.
That's a great point. Harry is almost always reacting to things. He's driven by this need to prove himself or just get past whatever's thrown at him. But Cedric, he faces these challenges with a real sense of integrity and, well, sportsmanship. Remember how he helped Harry with the second task, even though they were competing against each other?
Yeah, that was a huge moment for me. It would have been so easy for Cedric to just, I don't know, let Harry struggle.
Yeah,
But he chose to help him. It shows you how fair he was.
exactly. And it's not the only time he does something like that. Remember in Prisoner of Azkaban, after he beats Gryffindor in Quidditch, he immediately wants a rematch because he knows Harry fell off his broom. Like, winning at all costs just isn't his style. He'd rather be fair.
It's those little moments that really show you what kind of person Cedric was. He wasn't a show-off. He didn't need the spotlight. He just did what he thought was right, which makes his death even more tragic.
Absolutely. His death kind of shatters this feeling of safety, this innocence that you had in the earlier books. It's a turning point, not just for Harry, but for the whole wizarding world. Things get a lot darker.
It's not just that he dies. It's who he is, what he represents. It's like pure good is just gone for no reason.
I totally agree. It's so symbolic. Like, innocence is lost. For Harry, for us as readers, the world becomes dangerous even for the best of people.
Like Voldemort's return is casting a shadow over everything, and Cedric is the first one to fall victim to it.
And that loss has such a big impact on Harry's journey. Before Cedric, his fight against Voldemort was almost like a game, just
Yeah.
a series of challenges. But after seeing such a senseless death, it's not a game anymore, it's personal.
It's like Cedric's death is what pushes Harry to change. He goes from reacting to threats to actively fighting evil.
And it's not just Harry who changes. Think about Dumbledore. Cedric's death makes him even more determined to bring everyone together, to prepare for the war that's coming.
It makes you wonder, did Rowling plan for Cedric to be this kind of catalyst? Like, did she create him so that his death would have such a massive effect on everyone and everything?
It's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely possible. By making Cedric this almost perfect figure, someone who represents everything good about the wizarding world, his death hits even harder.
It forces the characters, and us as readers, to face the reality of Voldemort's return. Things will never be the same.
And you can see that in how much the fans are affected by it. Even though he's not in the story for that long, Cedric's death leaves a huge mark. People are still talking about him, still mourning his loss.
Oh yeah, you see it everywhere. The fan art, fan fiction, online discussions.
Mhm.
People are still thinking about Cedric, about what could have been if he had lived.
It just shows how important he is, symbolically. He's not just innocence lost, he's also the loss of potential, the good that could have been.
It's like his story asks a question that hangs over the entire series. Can good really win when there's so much darkness?
That's the question that stays with you, even after you finish the books. It makes you think about good and evil, about sacrifice, and about hope, even when things are tragic. It's interesting, when you think about it, Cedric's death really kind of highlights a key difference between him and Harry.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that.
They're both brave, yeah, but their courage is, like, different.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. With Cedric, it's like, it's just there. It's
Oh.
easy, natural. Part of who he is. He just believes in being fair, doing the right thing, and that makes him brave.
Exactly. Like, remember when he wanted to share the Triwizard win with Harry?
Oh, right. Yeah, that was huge.
He knew they both touched the cup at the same time.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't take the win alone. It just had to be fair, even if it meant, I don't know, not getting all the glory for himself.
And Harry, I mean, he's brave too. obviously, but it's like it comes from a different place.
Right, like he has to be brave
Right.
because of all the responsibility, all the danger.
Yeah, he's always facing something, some threat, some challenge. So he has to fight back. He has to survive
Like reactive bravery.
out of necessity.
But it's still bravery.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Cedric's death, well, it shows us that there are different ways to be brave, different ways to, stand up for what you believe in.
Right. And they're both important, those different kinds of bravery. When you're fighting someone like Voldemort, you need both. You need Harry's fire, that willingness to go head to head with danger.
Yeah.
But you also need Cedric's morals, his sense of justice.
That's like they're two sides of the same coin. Yeah. Different, but both are what make a hero. And that's probably why his death means so much to people, to the fans. It's not just that we lost a good guy, it's that we lost a certain kind of hero, someone who, I don't know, makes you think the world could be a better, fairer place.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if Cedric had lived? I mean, what would the wizarding world be like?
Right. It's a question that keeps coming up in fan fiction, online, everywhere. What if he had been there to, I don't know, to make things better?
Some people think he would end up at the ministry, right? Like trying to change things from the inside, making things more fair for everyone, even magical creatures.
Yeah. Or maybe he would have been a teacher at Hogwarts, sharing his values, his belief in kindness with a whole new generation.
Makes you think about all the possibilities, what his legacy could have been.
But even though we'll never know for sure, one thing's certain. He really made a mark on people, on the Harry Potter world. I mean, he makes you think about heroism, about doing the right thing, and about the power of just being a good person no matter what.
Totally. You know, thinking about it, Cedric's death doesn't just affect Harry. It affects everyone, the whole wizarding community.
Oh, for sure. It's like a ripple effect. From that moment in the graveyard, everything changes.
It's like before that, Hogwarts, the whole wizarding world felt safe, protected, magical.
Yeah, exactly. But then, after Cedric, that illusion's gone. It's like everyone realizes how vulnerable they are. Voldemort's back, and it's serious.
Before Cedric, Voldemort was like a scary story, But his death makes it real, makes it dangerous for everyone.
It's a wake-up call, right? For everyone. The ministry, the students, everybody. Things are different now. You have to pick a side.
Like at the ministry, at first, no one wanted to believe it. But then, slowly, they had to face the truth.
And even at Hogwarts, the kids aren't shielded anymore. They see what Voldemort can do. They see what it means to fight him, what you might have to sacrifice.
It's like for Harry, for the whole wizarding world, childhood's over.
Yeah. Everything's more complex, more grown up. Good and evil, life and death, responsibility.
Cedric's death, it's a turning point. It changes everything. The characters, the story, even the feel of the whole wizarding world.
Yeah.
It's really striking how Cedric's death just kind of splits the whole Harry Potter series in two. You get the fun adventures in the beginning, and then, bam, everything gets so much darker.
Oh, yeah, I totally see that. It's like you're stepping into a whole different world. Before Cedric, Hogwarts felt like, I don't know, like a safe bubble. Even when there were problems, there was still this sense of magic and possibility.
Right, like those dangers Harry faced, like, what was it, Fluffy, the three-headed dog, or a crazy bludger in Quidditch. They were scary, but also kind of fun. Like you just knew everything would work out, good would win.
But then Cedric dies, and that's it. That safe feeling is gone. It's like suddenly there's this real brutality, this violence that just wasn't there before. And the stakes, they're not a game anymore, especially for Harry. He has to face the fact that fighting evil, it can cost you everything.
One thing I noticed while reading all this stuff, it's like even the writing changes after Cedric.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It gets way more serious, Like more about how everyone is feeling, what's going on in their heads.
Like the books are growing up, along with Harry. It's not just fun adventures anymore. Now it's about grief, loss, tough choices, like facing a real enemy, the kind that doesn't mess around.
And it's not just the writing, even the movies, like visually they change.
Oh, I see what you mean.
In the beginning, everything's bright, colorful, playful, but after Cedric, it's like the colors get darker, everything's more realistic, more like, I don't know, gritty.
Like the whole look of the movies is telling you this world's not innocent anymore. It's dealing with some heavy stuff.
And that change, it had to happen, for the story to really hit home. When you see the dark side, when you see how much evil can hurt people, that's when it becomes real.
It's like, even though it's magic and all that, the characters are still human. They feel loss. They feel pain. And we feel it with them.
Exactly. It's what makes it real. Like, even with all the magic, there are still consequences. Things don't just magically get better.
So thinking about Cedric and his impact on everything, How would you sum it up? Like, what are the big takeaways?
Well, I think we can definitely say his death is like a catalyst. It pushes Harry to change, to go from reacting to things to taking charge, to
Yeah.
actually face Voldemort head on.
And it totally changes the direction of the whole story. Like, we go from lighthearted adventures to something way more serious, way more about good and evil, and what it really costs to do the right thing.
And maybe the biggest takeaway is that even in a magical world, innocence can be lost. Like, good doesn't always win easily. It's
Yeah.
a tough lesson, but it's something the characters and us as readers, we have to face as the story goes on.
Talking about all this, it really hits you. Cedric might not be around for long, but he leaves a huge mark on the whole series.
Oh, absolutely. He's proof that even a character who's not always in the spotlight can be incredibly important. He stays with you, and
Hmm.
he changes how you see the whole wizarding world.
Yeah, he reminds us that even in the face of something awful, kindness matters. Integrity matters. Doing what's right matters.
So, as we finish this deep dive into Cedric's story, I guess the question is, what do you take away from it? What sticks with you? What does his story, his legacy mean to you?